absolutely shocking, jaw-dropping to me that a public body would behave in the way of that I've seen.
It's just, it's about 2:05. Welcome. This is a special edition of my show. That's Stubbsy here in the afternoon. Between 2 and 3 p.m., I'm going to be speaking to Hopwood Dupree. Now, I'm hoping through the the magic of technology, I've got Hopwood there. Are you there, Hopwood?
Yes, how
Oh,
are you?
fantastic. I'm very well, thank you. How are you, More the point?
All right, I'm doing all right. We
Good,
got a
good.
challenge
Now,
ahead of us, but hanging in there.
we've got a lot to cover today. For those of you who don't know our connection, Hopwood was in the studio. We had a great chat back in February, March, and I'm going to let Hopwood tell you. For those unfamiliar with the story, I think that's the best way to start today, if you don't mind. I'd like you, if you can, sort of very quickly, sort of concisely explain who you are and what this story is about. In other words, your connection to Hopwood Hall and everything that's gone on since.
Sure. Well, very quickly, I grew up in the United States with the name Hopwood. And as a boy, my grandfather used to always tell me these stories about a Hopwood castle, he called it, in England. And I always just thought they were fairy tales. And years later, after he had passed away, and I was looking into our genealogy and family history. And one night while I was on Ancestry, I came across an old photograph of Hopwood Hall, and it was located in Middleton. And I was amazed because in that moment, I knew that that must have been the place that he had always told me about. So I went just to visit it with my family out of curiosity to see the hall. And we were absolutely blown away and shocked by the condition that it was in. The building dates back to the 1420s, and it was completely derelict, and hundreds of broken windows, vandals breaking in on a regular basis. There were pieces of plaster falling around. The whole place was just an absolute wreck. Leaks everywhere, collapsed sections. Just shocking, and really shocking as an American to come over. We don't have that sort of history throughout the United States. So to see this building dating back to the 1420s that was just left to rack and ruin really surprised us that it had fallen into that condition.
Can I just
So
can I just interrupt you there?
sure.
Where you were, why it had been so badly neglected? Because I think I'm right in saying that there'd been nobody in the hall for around about 30 years. Is that correct?
That's correct. So in World War One, the two young sons, as well as 24 members of staff, were killed in action in World War One. And so after that, it fell out of the Hopwood family, who had lived there for hundreds and hundreds of years. And then it went through a series of uses and remained in very good condition as a De La Salle teacher training college until around the late 1980s, when Rochdale Borough Council took ownership of Hopwood Hall. Sadly, in that time between around 1989 to 1999, it just fell into complete ruin. Vandals were breaking in on a regular basis. So by the year 1999, it was listed on Historic England's at-risk register as being in very bad condition. It was really difficult to find a use for it. The council, I think, was trying. Of course, it's located on the campus of Hopwood Hall College, which was originally the estate of the hall. And that had been transferred over to Hopwood Hall College, which left the hall surrounded by the campus. So it was, without any public access, it was very challenging for anyone to find a use and commercial use. And we have a number of videos about this on our YouTube channel, really explaining it in more detail if anybody's interested in learning more. But so because it had been unable to be moved into the next stage of being saved, it really just fell into complete dereliction, which was sad to see. And both me and my family felt we have to get involved. We have to do something here. It's too beautiful of a building and too important to the community to just leave and let it fall apart. They had told me that if nothing was done, local people there had told me if nothing was done in the next 5 to 10 years, that the hall would be a complete ruin.
Mm.
And there was a huge passion in the community to save it. So I knew with with that passion and with that army of people who wanted to save it, we could do something.
Okay, before we come on to sort of your vision of the hall and what happened next, I mean, I'm sorry, to repeat the question, I suppose, is why do you believe it was so badly neglected? Because it was badly neglected for a considerable length of time.
I don't know. I mean, that predates me. I mean, like I said, these were between the years of 1989 and 1999 under the ownership of Rochdale Borough Council
Okay.
and surrounded by Hopwood Hall College. Hopwood Hall College, I think, was what came into existence around early 1990s, I believe. I don't know. That all predated me. All I wanted to do was help save it. It was a passion for the community, and everybody wanted to save it. But I was told by the council that they didn't know what to do with it, how to save it. It was just too big of a project. They didn't have enough money. They didn't have enough staffing. They had really, I would say almost just given up on the whole property.
Right. Okay. What was your vision, or what is your vision for the hall?
Well, my vision back then and even now, the whole way through has been to rescue it for the community, to bring it back into use, and also to make it available to visitors from near and far. Through our promotion of the hall and the rescue project, we've been able to be in contact with people from around the world who are interested in visiting and interested in helping. And so we've really built a huge global audience of people wanting to help save it and seeing the importance of the building, the importance of the heritage, and the passion in the local community. So we want to bring it back and into use as a venue for the community events, for education, for arts and events.
Okay. Now, obviously, we're going to talk about what happened in November and what's happened since. But how did were we talking about 2016, 17 here? How did Rochdale Council respond to your plans at the time?
Well, initially, I didn't have any plans other than just offering to get involved to help. And my background was working in Los Angeles in television and film. And so they seemed to really love the idea of doing more promotion around it, perhaps filming a documentary about the rescue of it or a television series. My sister is a grant writer, very successful, established grant writer in the United States. So she offered to help. So it really became a family effort of just trying to get involved and see what we could do.
Right. So
It
you
was
said,
a number of years because that was
yeah.
2013. So it was a number of years before I spearheaded the project. I was just helping both the council and Hopwood Hall College to try to find a way to rescue it. And the college had proposed to turn it into a hotel. This is around 2014. And they were applying for grant funding and were unsuccessful in doing that. So then in 2015, that effort, which I was told was really the last chance for Hopwood Hall, um, fell apart, and the college, abandoned those plans. Again, for those reasons, as I understood, it was due to staffing and funding. And the college and the council was in the same boat. They didn't have the funding or staffing. So actually, the council then suggested that what I consider spearheading the effort, which is a big commitment because it was in a different country. I really had to think about it. But I also felt that I couldn't just turn my back on the building. And in 5 to 10 years from then, if somebody contacted me and said Hopwood Hall had fallen into complete ruin, of complete collapse, I think I would have felt really terrible that I hadn't done something to save it. It just seemed so wrong to me that it was just being abandoned like that. So I made the decision to take it on full time and to eventually move over, which I did full time in the end of 2017 to got my UK visa. Went through a whole series of steps to move over in the end of 2017 to work with the community and heritage experts to kick off our launch of Saving Hopwood Hall.
Okay, now, because as I say, I want to come on to what happened last year and then move forward. But just
Sure.
finally, sort of the background, if you like, is can you explain what exactly you've achieved since you, in fact, stopped? Well, I say stopped. I beg your pardon. You went from being a passionate onlooker to someone who was actually going to physically, do something about it, should we say, and took over the project.
Well, we made huge progress. I mean, anyone that's seen our YouTube videos or visited the hall or been a volunteer at the hall, they know the amount of progress, as well as our grant funders. Everyone's aware of what we did with so many hands and tens of thousands of hours from the community of volunteers, as well as supporters around the world.
Hmm.
We were able to apply and get grants. I traveled up and down the country at my own expense, meeting with people, getting the support of organizations like Historic Houses, working with our grant funders, meeting with National Lottery Heritage Fund, meeting with Historic England, as well as promoting our efforts through YouTube and other ways just to get the word out and try to drum up as much support as we could for this building. The grant funds to save these historic buildings, it's very competitive. So we really had to find a way to bring this to the forefront as a project because it meant so much to the community. And over those years, it's a very long list of what was accomplished. And a building like this takes time, especially it had collapsed wings and sections. I mean, it was terrible, terrible state. I had people come in and look at it, heritage experts, and they said it was the worst they've ever seen. So for us to turn that around and quickly too, I mean, I moved over there in mid-August of 2017, and by the end of the first week of September, we had the hall open for the first time in 30 years to the public. Were part of Heritage Open Day, and that was a lot of blood, sweat, and tears over those 3 weeks just to get it open. I mean, my family flew in, my sisters and mother were shoveling mud. I mean, we were trying to get this place open for the public. So, and with many members of the community as well. I mean, it really was a group effort, and we were talked with the council, and at that point we had a great partnership in working with the council, and they were saw the importance to get it in. So they said we could have 100 people during the day go through the building in small groups, which was acceptable to us. And everybody had hard hats and high vis vests, and we knew safety was paramount, so we wanted to do it in that way. But um, we took people in and explained it, and we could not believe the outpouring of interest that we had. I mean, of those 100 people, we had a waiting list of 600 people that wanted to come and see it. We got picked up in the Telegraph and regional news, and it really became something that just took off, where we had this huge momentum behind us to make something happen.
Right. Let's just take a break there. What I'd like to do, because I think that's great, we've covered the background. I'd like to focus on what happened last year, and we'll explain to listeners when we come back after this song. I have to explain, Hopwood is not in the UK at the moment. This is why I'm slightly nervous and hoping we don't lose the connection. Right, let's talk about what happened last year. Very, very briefly, I'll just explain that you and your team were locked out of Hopwood Hall. Did you have any warning that was going to happen?
We had absolutely no warning. It was a complete shock to us. We thought we were working in trusted partnership with Rochdale Council, and we just had no idea. It was unbelievable.
So when did you find out? When did you actually find out that you had been locked out?
Found out.
Sorry, I beg your pardon.
Yeah, no problem. Yes, we were contacted by someone from the media, contacted us asking for response to the fact that Rochdale Council had told them that they were not going to renew any sort of agreement with us, and that they were reneging on the agreement. So and what was my response to that? So I heard about it from the media after they had gone to take it public without ever speaking with me or the volunteers, or sitting down with us, or even responding to us.
So they didn't contact you through official channels to tell you or to explain to you why this had happened, in other words?
No, they didn't. And now, looking through documents and emails that we've received through a Freedom of Information request, it seems that it's a bit shocking that nobody did reach out, considering they knew they were going to do this according to these emails. Very much further before it happened.
Can
I
you?
would say,
Sorry,
I'm
Hopwood.
sorry.
I was going to say, can you tell us anything about these emails at this stage? Because again, I think I explained to people who are listening that this has now reached a point where Hopwood and his team have taken the case to the High Court, and they're basically challenging Rochdale Council. I think that's correct in saying, isn't it? So, is there information about those emails that you were able to talk about?
Yes, it's limited what I can say, but they all will be included as public documents in the High Court filing. We put together hundreds and hundreds of pages of documents supporting everything I'm saying here. I think it's around over 1,300, between 1,300 and 1,500 pages of paperwork that's been filed, which is emails, documents, proposals dating back all the way to when I first came over there around 2013, 2014. So there's 10 years worth of emails, and I have every single one of them. What's been even more telling is getting very limited freedom of information. I should tell you that Rochdale Council refused to disclose two of our freedom of information requests, and which was very surprising to us that we couldn't get that transparency. We've gone to higher powers to get some of those released. One of which they had, seems they had tried to block one of our large grant funders from releasing their emails under freedom of information. We appealed to a higher power at the organization, and those emails were released to us. There's other freedom of information that they've refused to disclose. We've gone to the ICO and appealed that, and they've upheld us. So we're waiting on even more documents. But I can tell you the very limited emails that I've seen are absolutely shocking, jaw-dropping to me that a public body would behave in the way of that I've seen.
Okay. So, what was your relationship like with the council and the college before the lockout?
It had been very good from the beginning. And, I worked so closely with them starting in 2013, 2014. And I should say, there still are very good people at Hopwood Hall College and Rochdale Council. This to me is not directed toward everybody there. I think there's a handful of people that have been behind this. A lot of the people I've talked to at Rochdale Council didn't know anything about this decision. They were surprised and shocked themselves. They had been out to visit and see all the amazing work of the volunteers and them saving the gardens and turning these destroyed gardens into award-winning gardens. So they knew how much progress we had made, and a lot of people I think were shocked that whoever these decisions makers were at Rochdale Council and Hopwood Hall College. It seems that these decisions were made by a small group behind closed doors, and those reports are, Rochdale Council seems to be doing everything it can to block those reports from being seen by us, by the public. So we deserve answers, and that's why we're suing them, because we absolutely can't just step back and forget about everything we've done and then what the community's done. And we've poured our hearts and souls into this, and we deserve answers. And the way it's been handled is appalling.
Why do you think it changed? What happened? Was there anything that happened that you can think of that was as a direct consequence to what went on?
Well, we'll know more when we get the emails and the reports that Rochdale Council is refusing to provide us. But it's hard to guess what happened. But I can tell you that the whole thing changed, and after we were awarded a £250,000 grant, which was intended to go. So this is the charity that I founded and chair along with a accomplished board of trustees. We applied for, with my sister writing the grant, who I mentioned earlier as a grant writer. We applied for this £250,000 for the community engagement and to get the hall open to the public, and to really move it forward in a way that no one had seen, in the 3 decades before that had fallen to dereliction. So once that grant came through, things really changed, and a consultant was appointed by the council to be their point person, and that is where it started to really shift and become a project that we started not to understand what was happening behind closed doors.
Right. Okay. I'm just going to read you. When you came in last time, we approached Rochdale Council and invited them into the studio. It was not an invitation that they took up, and they stated to the UK media. I think this is around about November last year when you were locked out, that they do not comment on continuing legal proceedings, but pointed journalists to the previous statements they'd made to the media about Hopwood Hall. And one of those, I just want to really pick this one up with you, is and I think this is the sort of claims and counterclaims. They are the reasons that they are giving why you have been locked out. One of them appears to be not having a viable business plan. How do you react to that?
Well, it's very surprising they would say that, considering in 2019 we commissioned AEA Consulting, which is an international consulting firm that looks in the viability of proposals just like this. And we paid them a lot of money to go in and do this study. And they concluded that indeed our business model that we were looking at would be viable. And that met support from the council, and they cheered us on to continue forward. In 2022, I commissioned, at my own expense, a business plan and presented that to the council on the 11th of July of 2022. And that was to full support. Everybody stood behind it, was excited about it. There are counselors that have stood up, former counselors that have stood up publicly and acknowledged the fact that that presentation did happen and that there was support. Um, so then we took that and went on and got planning permission based on all of that. So the fact that anybody at Rochdale Council would say that we hadn't presented a viable business plan, it, it makes no sense. I mean, it just absolutely is surprising given the actual history and what can be reflected in evidence and is in all the court documents.
Okay, let's take another short break. We'll be back to Hopwood very shortly. Hopwood, you recently announced you were taking the council to the High Court, and there was an article that related to unseen evidence through a Freedom of Information request. Can you tell us anything about that unseen evidence?
Yes, I mean, really, as I had mentioned before, the council had refused two Freedom of Information requests from us, and which we challenged, and that was upheld. So we've received some limited emails and correspondence that's happened between the council and others, including third parties. And so that evidence to me was absolutely shocking that a public body would be doing what they were doing. And really, in my opinion, going behind our back, trying to undermine £250,000 grant that me and my charity and my sister had written. We just couldn't believe it. I still don't fully understand what the motives were. We're looking into that more, hoping to receive more information. I've gone back through a decade worth of emails and correspondence and documents, as I've kept everything since I got involved in this project. And it's really very telling to look at that, and going back through a meeting that happened on the 29th of July, 29th of May, 2024. There were a number of meetings that were the council had requested to be recorded. And so I listened back to some of those recordings. And I mean, really, on that meeting in the 29th of May, 2024, the point person from Rochdale Council was saying that, it's a different time than 2007. In 2017 was a different time. And back then, the council would have just closed their eyes and signed anything. So, I mean, that's not a direct quote, but, the transcript is included in our court documents. And it's just unbelievable that a public body would behave like this and try to change an agreement when we had signed it in 2017 that their legal team put together and presented to me to sign, and they signed it too. That I thought we were in partnership and working together to save Hopwood Hall, but apparently in the background it seems as though they were working a whole different angle that is now coming to light and will be exposed and shown as we go into high court.
Okay, so that's from what you're saying, in my mind, using a very English expression, it's moved the goalposts in effect. That's what you're saying,
Very much,
right?
very
Okay,
much
okay.
so.
Now,
And statements like you said, they went to the media and said it was because we hadn't made enough progress,
mm.
and that we hadn't presented a business plan, and it was a number of things that are easily proven false and misinformation.
Can I ask you what's happened to the hall since November last year? Are you aware of what work has gone on? I mean, has the hall on the grounds, have they been maintained? What are the do you know what the council are doing at the moment?
I don't know. I hear from others bits and pieces. There was a grant that my team and I were very, very involved in.
Welcome back. I lost Hopwood for a moment. Then I'm rather hoping when I do this that he's there. Are you there, Hopwood?
I'm here. I can hear
Oh,
you.
thank goodness. Right, we got cut off in a moment there. What do you think? Can I know you got cut off in the middle of something you were saying, but can I just ask you about what do you think the council's end game is? Can you comment on that at this stage? I mean, do you have your own theories you're prepared to air? Should we say?
I don't know. I mean, all we can go on is what they've said publicly, and said to the media, but they still haven't said anything to me personally. So I don't know. They've said they wanted, in the media, they said something along the lines of they wanted to explore other opportunities. I don't know what those are. They said they had commissioned a study on the hall, but they won't say who is doing the study or who. I think it was more that they said that our plan was not viable, but they haven't said, as far as I know, who the consultant is that they hired. So I think there's a lot of answers that we still need. I don't know. Maybe there's been updates or more information since I've last heard, but I'll be very interested to hear what they say.
I'm assuming that since last year, well, since prior, I suppose, to the lockout, but what you're telling us is that you've not had any communication with Rochdale Council other than through official channels, I'm guessing.
Right. We have a legal team that's
Yes.
been reaching out to their legal team, but I've never had any sort of person contact me directly to explain what was happening, why it was happening. Um, as I understand it, we had some people try to get involved, local councilors trying to set up a meeting amongst us with the council, the volunteers. I think without me, they wanted to meet with them and met with the local MP who was trying to set up a meeting with the senior management there at the council. And as I understand, the senior management at Rochdale Council refused to meet with the volunteers to hear their side of the things. This is what I'm being told, so I don't know exactly how that all happened, but no, I have not had any conversation
Okay.
directly with them.
What kind of support have you received since the lockout? Be it
Huge,
public or institutional?
an incredible amount of support. People from around the world have been contacting us. We set up a crowdfunding page to help us with legal costs, and people have contributed generously to that. Um, Amazing people coming out of the woodwork locally. We had a local school hold a fundraiser of young children to help raise money for legal costs. They did a bake sale. That really moved me to think these young children have that much passion about their local heritage and getting this place back for the community and doing something amazing. So, but I hear from people all over the world on our YouTube channel and on my social media. Just they want us to keep going, and I think the more information that comes out And the more information that is exposed about what was actually going on behind the scenes at Rochdale Council and Hopwood Hall College, the more support we're getting and more media interest that we're getting, because I think people are really shocked that a council could behave in this way.
You have released a number of videos recently. I think there's a series of videos through the Ancestry channel. Is that correct? Which is a sort of, is that to do with the history of the hall and where you are up to now? But there's also another video which I think I've seen, which is beautifully done, beautifully created. Which tell us a little bit more about that. Why did you do that?
Well, I'll tell you, the Ancestry series happened before we were kicked out of the hall, and that was amazing to partner with such a big brand to help us look at local ancestors, local descendants of people who once lived, worked, and helped build and run the hall. And so we're thrilled. We released 2 episodes with them. There's another one coming out today at 6:30 p.m. on the Ancestry channel on YouTube. So it's just amazing to partner with such an international brand, and we really had high hopes that that would help continue to springboard the Hopwood Hall Rescue projects. Of course, this was all filmed and put together, before we were locked out, or after edited after we were locked out, but filmed before we were locked out. And then we just did another video recently, which is an animated video, and we did that. As I mentioned, we have a lot of younger people, a lot of young students, people that have been incredibly involved in the community that have come to the hall and helped, whether it be planting gardens or helping to create artwork or helping to raise money for the legal costs. And so we just thought, hey, what if we make something that's animated that can appeal to people of all ages and really can show these young students that they're making a difference, because so many of them were upset after they were locked out of their gardens that they had put time into. And so we just thought we need to do this. And it's received an amazing response from people. So I think we're going to hopefully do a few more of those as well.
Good. We'll have another short break, and we'll be back to Hopwood in a few minutes' time. It's coming up to 10 to 3. I'm Stubbsy here in the afternoon on Roach Valley Radio. I'm speaking with Hopwood Dupree. Hopwood, can we talk about looking ahead, should we say? Has a date been set for the High Court hearing yet?
A date has not yet been set for the High Court.
Is that likely this year, do you think?
I don't know. We're still waiting for responses
Confirmation.
from Rochdale Council, and then from there we'll be getting confirmation on the dates. But we'll certainly keep you in the loop as to once that date is announced.
Okay. Do you think it's too late for this situation to be resolved outside of court?
I don't know. That really depends on Rochdale Council. I don't know.
Okay, and this is, well, this is, I think this is an important question myself. Do you still hope for a collaborative future, or in honesty, has this damaged trust beyond repair?
For many years, I worked closely with Rochdale Council and Hopwood Hall College, so I would be hopeful that we would be able to find the people, the good people in there that want to do something for the community, and that we're aligned. So I'm certainly open to working with both organizations. I just think we need to find out specifically who was behind these decisions, and get to the bottom of that. Once we can move beyond that and all move forward with a proactive way that's going to benefit the community, save the hall, and bring in new opportunities for local residents and visitors from near and far.
Okay. Now, what message would you like to send to the people of Middleton, the heritage supporters, or even Rochdale Council?
Well, I'll say the people of Middleton have been amazing. The support, I just want to say thank you so much for all your support over the years. I'm so sad and so sorry that we've gotten in this position, and I don't understand it myself. But we've hired an incredible legal team, and they're very confident and supportive, and we will get to the bottom of this. So if you can just stick with us, we feel we will get this place open, and it will benefit the local people in the way that it's supposed to. And with our vision that we had been working on for all those years, and we poured so much time, energy, and money both public money and private money into making that happen and furthering it. So thank you for all your support over the years.
Well, you've probably just answered what was going to be my final question, which was, despite everything, are you still committed to the dream of restoring Hopwood Hall? But by the sounds of it, from what you just said, you are.
100%. I can see what that hall can become and the beacon of hope that it has been for so many people over the years. Our volunteer group who's been brought together and the incredible friendships and bonds and progress we've been able to make, it's a huge mental health and well-being boost. And we're doing a lot of heritage skills training and training up students and providing jobs and opportunities. So yes, I have high hopes that we'll be able to do something incredible that will benefit that area for centuries to come.
That's great. Hopwood Dupree, thank you very, very much for joining me this afternoon. I really appreciate it. It's been a fascinating chat. I wish you well, and I'd love you to come on again, and we can hopefully have a chat about things moving forward next time.
That sounds great. Always a pleasure, Steve. I appreciate it.
All right. Take care.
Thanks.